Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the series. Reporting from Hatta, and today's topic is awakening the feeling of opportunity. I'm already recording, so Tati is here with me, working on the computer, and maybe I can get some of the um, tips on this topic from her as well and from her experience. So I'll jump directly. Very cool topic of limitations. I think it was also mentioned in the chapter 3, if I'm not mistaken, how we can stay and limit ourselves in terms of being in a box. But these type of limitations is about the what we allow ourselves to receive. Like we are being greedy to ourselves. We're not allowing for ourselves to receive as much as we wish for, as much as we're worthy. And it feels like it's like a magic stick, but in fact, it's just the conscious co-creation, the co-creation with the universe, where we slowly move, releasing the negative behavior patterns and learning to accept more from all the sources, not feeling guilty about it, because it's not that the universe is limited. And what I like again about this book, and it was written 25 years ago, that all of the um, or many of the sources that are currently um, popular, like on manifesting, on co-creating, is about the fact that the universe is unlimited, and when we receive, it doesn't mean that we take from others. So when we allow ourselves to connect to this is what makes us happy and fulfill us. And that's the feeling of the expansion, the feeling of, um, opposed to contraction. So when we listen to our creator, we become the path. And often we cannot connect to this infinite source due to the fact that we are trying to find it in the material world, and we are to accept the creativity source that get expressed through us in the way that it wants, but not necessarily the way how we think or how we imagine it will be. And the clues we can get from random people, how exactly we can, find the next thing that is within our flow, that is within um, is for us. So getting when we get the creative idea, we got to act, release any doubts, and take the action step by step, trusting. So this helps the universe to support us further. Um, However, this part of the taking the steps from our side is also really important. Not the most people put the importance on that side, right? Like, okay, we do whatever we gotta do, and keep doing that. But the second part is the co-creation with the universe, when we allow this flow to happen and we're doing the steps in the right direction. So the inspired steps, so to say. Yeah, and if we don't want to do that, if we have doubts, so the question to ask, what steps am I trying to avoid? Which is the dream that I'm refusing to believe that can be fulfilled? And that's where the universe brings us food. What is the risk of staying stuck? Hmm, thank you. Yeah, just put it here. Right. So, get help from the journaling. That's the exercise that, if you follow the chapters, we've been doing for like 8 weeks constantly right now. And I can tell I wasn't missing many days. Well, I missed today. Huh, we'll catch up on that. So, asking the question, for instance, in the journaling, and start journaling in the morning will with the answer that comes. That's the exercise that helped me a lot, and I'm not using it right now because I'm feeling one of those questions I don't want to answer. So yeah, let's see, finding the flow. we get this negativity and fears that are unloading from our subconscious, how fearful we are of the opportunity to come where we are striving to come. So we start to hope at the same time we are afraid and we fear that hope. So moving to the spiritual independence, we get to connect to our true self more, and we become more receptive to the kindness and becoming more kind to other people. So we find it easier to be open about what we believe in, and we meet the people we resonate with, and we stop judging. So it's basically looking at this um, from the whole from the back, like another term it could be used like being an observer, right? That comes from the mindfulness, from the being in the moment field, I would say. So, and it makes it easier to release this inertia from keeping the journaling, or even talking to each other, like talking it through, discussing. And when you have a friend that you can be open about, like discussing all the issues and seeing the picture together, this is really a big blessing, without being afraid to be vulnerable and being afraid of like vocalizing the thought, maybe even if it can be the mistake, or it can be like whatever perceived as mistake. Yeah. um Dependence on our inner creator is making us free from any other dependence. So by this we also build the relationship. When we do depend only on that inner source that is within us, that is coming through us, the true self, we stop being dependent on other people, also in the different kinds of relationships. And listening to our inner child, if that related to the creativity expression, we can spend more time with him or her, we can hear him or her more clearly, and even in the darkest time we can still do this and try this step. So in this regards, it becomes like the awakening as the willing action of immersion into the river flow, with all the turns and turbulence and stones. And that's the trust that it takes to get into that flow and accept any kind of action that's coming, right? It can be a stone, it can be a turn, and see from within that action what actually it is, and making those courageous and bold moves, like trying the new project, for instance, and seeing from within, okay, so what it brings us, what kind of relationship we are in, but saying yes to more opportunities. So it becomes like more yes than no's, feeling a new sense of self in taking joy and in really surprising the activities and adventures. This kind of- what does he want? We're becoming more open and less serious, taking our life and ourselves easier, releasing this harshness and maybe even rudeness. We receive this gift of compassion that we are giving back to the universe. So yeah, tapping directly into that source. When I'm in that state, it just feels amazing. Like every sign is there. I feel like I'm just flowing, and I get some kind of um, inner feeling of the expansion, but also the signs from the outside, like the dragonflies coming, or yeah, I get a lot from the nature, or the butterfly, or like, yeah, the wind, just the notion of the wind, etc. Yeah, but that part, the doing the steps ourselves into the direction where we want to go, is still the important part to do. And when we have this creative awakening, we learn to receive it with the generosity, right? With the gratitude, with whatever comes, and then sing from that moment. So the rightfulness trap that uh, the artists have, any kind of artist, even if the people on the awakening path, is time of like not doing anything, just like hibernation, right? Like the pause, when it seems from the outside like nothing is happening, but in the same time the things are happening on the inside. And we have this to defend like this kind of right or privilege and be courageous, having a strong belief about it and the persistence. We need this time to have like this kind of pause, the zone of silence. And it can be perceived by the relatives as alienation um, of friends or relatives. So the inner artist can get sick or even die without this. And the signs could be, the words used to express like, oh, if you don't give me time to, in the family, like to stay by myself, just leave me alone. And that's the signs when we have like the process of emptying the soul, and we are in the rightfulness trap, because we want to be kind to others, we want to be the right, stay connected with the family and loved ones. We don't want to feel this guilt of, taking this alone time. So doing the smart decisions, and the price can be really huge for that. It can be the loneliness, the lack of love and connection when we try to ignore this side of us. And quite often it comes from the false spirituality. Um, we take this creativity as like the cross, the creativity lack as cross, by not giving ourselves this time of um, alone time, or this pause time, or this silent zone, and explaining that we do it for others, or we do, we want to stay smart, and we want to be within the community, for instance, and at the same time dying on the inside. So yeah, the question I was posting in the beginning is like, am I harming my true self? What are those masks and roles that are being played again, that has to be released? And that's the only the true self that knows how to stay happy, um, and perhaps needs to rebel, and have this courage to take this time of the silence, saying no to others and saying yes to oneself. So not to kind of connect to this false I instead of the true self. And for this, you can try different actions. Like, you can test if you're in the rightfulness trap. I always miss something in my life. This always makes me happy. I'm spending most of my time on this and this. I feel guilty because, like, you can start writing. I'm gonna post it in the text below. And one way to get out of it, a tip, you can write 10 or maybe even 100 desires or wishes that you want for yourself. Like, try to be creative. Try to imagine anything that you can achieve, if, without being limited. Just put it out there, put it on the journal. Yeah, Tati, have you done this exercise before?
Now, to put in the journal wishes, I have put what I wanted, but you mean desires?
Yeah, wishes and
General, I have it written in my journal, but not specific, let's say, to a situation or a career, but more general, like I know I want tranquility, peace of mind.
desires. What would be the craziest thing you would want to try out?
Right now, just being able to manifest my reality of like work-wise, not feel conflicted to do things that are opposite, because I enjoy doing both of them. I like both of them, and yeah, it's about believing and creating that for myself, not feeling like I need to choose something.
Right, right.
So still having freedom to decide, and being in the energy, and because if I'm like being with this kind of flowy energy, creativity, then I can address it to both things, not feel like my energy has to be a certain way for one thing or for the other things.